Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I'm going to do my 2,000 subscriber Q&A, my first ever Q&A on this channel. So I want to thank everybody first and foremost for submitting questions and making comments and stuff. I really appreciate all the kind words and the support, and thanks a lot for all that. You guys are awesome. I'm just going to run through some of these and just answer them as I go. Paper Clown asked, do you remember when you used to wear hats? Yeah, I do remember when I used to wear hats. That was a ways back. I have a big head. That's what she said. But I have a big head, just regularly. But when I grew out this big mane of hair, that made it twice as hard to actually find hats that fit me. But if you go back far enough in my video collection, you will find videos of me wearing hats and stuff, but haven't really wore a hat in a long time. So yeah, not a big hat person. Definitely when you have a head, you have a melon this big with hair this thick. How much do you spend on movies every year? Declan Boyd asks. That's a great question. I have no idea. I've never actually kept track of it, but it is a lot of money. I do spend quite a bit of money on Blu-rays and DVDs, and of course, I mean, going to the movies as well. But you know, it's what I love to do. It's my hobby. I love movies. I love collecting movies. I love watching movies, and you know, you can't take it with you when you die. You know, my philosophy is you know. Most of us, some of us, at least work hard for the money that we make. So why not, you know, why not spend it on the things that we like? Off the top of my head, I'd say the figure is easily in the thousands per year on movies, at least. Let's see. Mike 13 versus 2 asked, what made you decide to start uploading vids on the YouTubes? I actually started the channel. I registered the channel back in 2007, but I didn't start uploading videos until 2009. I just sort of found my way into the YouTube movie community. There was a lot of people online making videos that I really liked. People like, you know, the Dead Pit guys, people like Raho Magnifico, like B Jr. from over at Endurance Productions. There's several others that I used to watch and I liked, and I thought, you know, hey, I'll upload my own and you know, espouse my own worthless 2 cents about movies and whatever else crosses through my the wasteland that is my mind. So yeah, just thought it looked like fun and decided to do it, and I did it. Pistol 213RD asks, what is your favorite film of the Halloween series, and do you own any of the Puppet Master films? I actually own all the Puppet Master films. I bought the $5 it was like all the movies on, like, it seemed like it was maybe 1 or 2 discs, not very many discs in the package, but yeah, every one of them for $5 at Walmart, which I thought was hilarious because not all that long ago they had the big full moon box set that was selling for 40, 50, 60 bucks. I got them all for $5. So, what's my favorite film in the Halloween series? Got to be the first one, of course. I mean, that is the classic. Though, I mean, I love them all. I love them all. Well, I shouldn't say I love them all. Halloween Resurrection is pretty god-awful, and the Halloween remake that Rob Zombie did was, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the most depressing movie-going experience of my life. But the rest of them I like quite a bit. Even part 5. Mike G Pro, the artist formerly known as Silent Mike, asks, what are your favorite non-horror movies? Right off the top of my head, The Thin Red Line. I love that movie to death. I find that movie so incredibly moving and powerful. Heat, absolutely love that movie. Love that movie. Just everything about it. I love, again, another really powerful film. I find it quite moving as well. Just love that movie to death. Everything about it. I could go on about Heat and Thin Red Line forever. True Romance is another one of my personal favorites. True Romance is a movie I saw right around the time I sort of had my movie enlightenment, I kind of want to say, where I transitioned from watching a lot of movies simply for entertainment value and not really thinking, well, this is a good movie or a bad movie. Not really thinking about, is it well written? Is the acting good? Does the director have a certain style about himself? It was really True Romance that kind of, I was like, this is really unlike anything I'd ever seen before. The writing, the way it was directed, the frenetic style, just everything. I think that kind of was my awakening into looking a little bit deeper into films, aside from just the simple entertainment value. Is there something more going on under the surface? Great question there, Mike. Joe Vector asked, do you ever have nightmares about horror movies you watch? No. I don't recall the last time I actually had a nightmare, to be perfectly honest with you. When I was a kid, I do have a vivid memory of having a nightmare when I was much younger. I was in a classroom in school, and Freddie and Jason were both there. I don't remember it being a very scary dream. I just remember I was in a school classroom, and both Freddie and Jason were in the classroom with me. That's really all I remember. I don't remember being terrified by it. One thing weird about my dreams, especially back then, I could only see people from the neck down. I never saw anybody's head or their face, but I just knew who they were. So no, I never have nightmares about movies I watch. My nightmares usually revolve around me losing a shoe. Yeah, I have nightmares where I'll lose a shoe and I will, tormented, search for my shoe and can't find it. Those are the kind of nightmares I have. I'm that sick. I have shoe nightmares. Brandon Lewis asks, assuming they were well done, what are some remakes you'd like to see? None. So tired of remakes. I don't, let the old classic movies be old classic movies, and please, for the love of God, come up with some original ideas. He asks, what's my job? What do I do? How often do you watch a horror flick? I have a 9-to-5 office job that's in the social work community. I don't get to watch quite as many horror movies as I used to. Work and real world responsibilities actually take up quite a bit of my time these days. I do find the opportunity to watch movies just in particular, but when I say movies, I'm particularly talking about horror movies, as those are, of course, that is my forte, usually over the weekends. Sometimes during the week I'll sit down after work and, just grab something off the shelf I'll feel like watching, like Slaughter High or Hellraiser 2 or just, something like that. I'll just get an itch to watch. Have I ever seen Cry Wolf? Brandon asks. Yes, and I like it. I wouldn't say it's really a guilty pleasure of mine. Although it is a guilty pleasure of yours, it's not really a guilty pleasure of mine. Decent movie. Rex Power Cold asked, do you think the upcoming Friday the 13th Blu-ray box set is going to be the definitive release? Yeah, for probably the next 2 years it'll be the most definitive release, and then they'll have an Ultimate Collection super release, and then that one will be the definitive release for a couple of years, and then they'll release more. Decals23 asks, what made you decide to grow out your long hair? I've always had a thing about my hair. I don't know, a friend of mine once told me, she was like, you remind me of an MTV VJ because every time I see you, you have a different hairstyle. Of course, this was back in the day when MTV actually showed music and had VJs. But yeah, I don't know. My hair, it's not really a conscious thing where I'm thinking I've got to change my hair a lot. It's just an ever-evolving thing. I used to do, back in high school, I just used to do the buzz cut just down to nothing. And then I'd let it grow out a little bit, and I'd play with it and do this and that, and then I'd buzz it again. When I started working, I just did the old classic, part in the middle, and I'd let it grow out, and I'd cut it back and try different things with it. And at one point I went with the, where it's all cut down, but there's like this little part here that sticks up. Tried that look for a while. I actually had my hair grow out once before for about a year. And it didn't have these curls in it. It was just straight, flat, moppy hair. But once this hair started to grow out and I started noticing these little curls and waves and ringlets in it, I thought that was really cool. So I just decided to let it grow out and just see what happens. And I've had pretty much long hair for the past couple of years. And I'm actually kind of contemplating doing something different with it, maybe buzzing it all off. I don't know, but I kind of, I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like the long hair and my flowing locks, my beautiful, luscious flowing locks. Nothing really made me want to grow it out. It just sort of happened, and like I said, I saw the curls and thought those were cool. So, Brian Huff asked, "What is your favorite Michael Cera movie?" Juno. I am 194 asks, is there any movie in your collection that you're ashamed of? No. No. Even if it's a schmaltzy, non-horror, more sort of... I can't really think of even any titles in my collection that are like that. I mean, I've got bad horror movies in my collection that I've bought just to have in the collection or just to, as a completist. But no, I'm not ashamed of any movie in my collection. I'm not ashamed of liking movies that a lot of people think are bad or are admittedly bad movies. I'm just not ashamed of it. If I like it, I like it. If I own it, I own it. Yeah. I've made joke asks your favorite mask in your collection. I'd have to go with the Part 5 mask that CK from Creepy Hawks did for me. I just absolutely love that freaking mask. Love that freaking mask. Hold on. I'll go get it. Alright, so this is the Part 5 mask that CK made for me from Creepy Hawks. And I just love this one. Of course, I love Part 5. And I think this mask just looks amazing. He really did an excellent job on this mask. I love it to death. So, I mean, this is my favorite one right now. But, just want to point out a couple of others. If I can get this one to stay still. This one I picked up at Dead Winter Horror Convention this year, and I had Richard Brooker sign it. Of course, Jason from Part 3. And about a month later, he passed away. So this is special because it's probably one of the last... probably one of the last autographs, actually, that he ever did. So, this one's special to me because of that. And this was the first hockey mask that I ever bought. This one, another one from CK, a Creepy Hawk. This is the very first one I bought. Got it at Friday Night Film Fest last year, and got Kane Hodder to sign it there at the top. So, yeah. They're all special to me, but... the Part 5 is my favorite, at least right now. So, thank you for that question. I made joke. DJ Donley asked, what is your favorite horror movie and why? I've talked about that quite a bit on this channel. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, hands down. I just love that film. I think it was the original slasher movie. I think it was really the movie that set the standard for pretty much every contemporary American slasher film since then. So yeah, definitely. DJ Donnelly also asks, who is your favorite horror director and why? And that's a good question. I mean, right now it would have to be James Wan. I think he's the one that's really sort of, of the new breed of horror directors, he's definitely the one with the most talent, I think. Of all time, favorite horror director would probably have to be John Carpenter. I mean, just his track record. I mean, the films that he made over the years just stand out above all the others. But I love Tobe Hooper. I mean, if Tobe Hooper had only directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would still consider him a genius. I think he's underrated. I think he's done a lot of other good movies and TV shows and TV series that have been really underrated. So, yeah. let's see. Favorite death scene in a slasher movie and why from DJ Donnelly. Gotta be the Raft Massacre and the burning. Just so abrupt, so ferocious, so brutal, so bloody. Oh, just love that sequence. My good buddy B Jr. from Endurance Productions says, being that we met in person for the first time at a horror convention, I thought it would be fitting to ask a convention-based question. What would be your horror convention dream guest list? It can be anyone, sir. Either met before or not. Go wild. Basically, what would be the most killer lineup of guests ever? I'd like to meet John Carpenter again, of course. The first convention I ever met B Jr. at was at Fright Night Film Fest 2010, I think, maybe, when John Carpenter was there. Of course, I love telling this story. Met John Carpenter at the convention, then B Jr. and I went across the street to a Shoney's to have some lunch. And, of course, in walks John Carpenter to have some lunch at Shoney's, all by his lonesome. And, of course, went over there and accosted him while he was waiting to get food. But I'd like to meet him again. I mean, if we're talking about like, it's either all free signings or just I've got all the money in the world. I mean, I'd love to meet Wes Craven. I'd love to meet Tobe Hooper. I'd love to meet Clive Barker. Even Dario Argento, though he doesn't speak English too well. Would love to meet him. Yeah. I mean, it would be just those guys, just the masters of horror, the directors all together with me like in the middle. Now that's a photo op that I would pay for. Yeah, but a great question there from B Jr. Thank you. Let's see. Ad Charlemagne has 2 questions. What are your favorite 70s or 80s film cover art of all time? And what is your favorite John Carpenter film other than Halloween? Favorite John Carpenter film other than Halloween? Probably have to be... I'd have to say The Thing. Just love the bleakness of that film. Just the overall bleakness of that film. And the effects are just wow good. Favorite cover art from a 70s or 80s movie? I've always loved the cover art from The Talent Graded Sundown. Just love that cover art. I love the VHS cover art for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's the media release. It's like painted with Leatherface running towards you with the chainsaw, and you Sally's eyes above him. I've always really loved those. You have to excuse me, I've got new glasses and I'm just kind of playing with them to get them sat right on my face. But yeah, I think those would probably be about my 2 favorites. The Evil Dead 2, of course. I mean, just remembering those, going to the video store with my mom when I was a kid. I mean, those cover arts just immediately jumped out to me for both the Evil Dead movies. So yeah, thanks for that question. Got some more questions here from DJ Donnelly. Why do you think people like Jason more than Michael Myers? Jason was just more pop culture. I mean, there was something about those movies. I mean, they put out pretty much one movie a year back in the 80s. I mean, it's so singularly personified, Jason is, with the hockey mask. People who don't know what Friday the 13th is, have never seen a Friday the 13th movie, who probably really don't even know what Jason is or who Jason is, they know if they see like my mother. My mother knows. Hockey mask is Jason Voorhees. She's never seen any of the movies. She doesn't care for any of them. But she knows a hockey mask, it means Jason Voorhees. Everybody knows a hockey mask means Jason Voorhees. And he's just more he's more pop culture than Michael Myers. I mean, you see Jason spoofs all over the place in commercials and on TV shows and, and in other mainstream films. So he's just more pop culture. And just the series in general, I mean, I don't know. I think the Halloween series was almost taken more seriously because the original Halloween was such a great film. Um, that series is just sort of almost on a different level than the Friday the 13th series. Not that I think the Halloween series is better than the Friday the 13th series, but yeah, I think the reason why more people seem to like Jason than Michael Myers is just for those reasons. Let's see. Favorite movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis. That's a good one. If I was going to pick one other than Halloween, I'd probably go with True Lies. Let's see. What celebrities do you follow on Twitter? I follow I follow a lot of celebrities on Twitter. I'm almost, yeah, I don't know why. I follow pretty much the entire cast of The Office on Twitter. Let's see, who else do I follow on Twitter? I follow a bunch of cast members from Sons of Anarchy. I follow Kurt Sutter, the creator of Sons of Anarchy. I follow Ryan Gosling. I follow I follow some musicians that I like. I follow several members of the Deftones, which is my favorite band. I follow I think I follow Maynard James Keenan from Tool. Yeah, I follow a bunch of celebrities. I don't, hey, yeah. Let's see. What is your favorite soda to drink and why? DJ Donnelly, man, you have just overloaded me with questions, but thank you so much. Favorite soda. My favorite soda right now, and I've done really well. Quitting soda cold turkey was the hardest thing I ever done in my life, and I used to be a smoker. I quit smoking cold turkey. Don't really have cravings. Don't really want to go back to smoking. Had no problem quitting smoking. Stopping drinking soda. Now that was an act of pure will. I do drink a little bit here every now and again. My sweet tooth will kick in. I really like Mountain Dew Voltage. It just tastes so good. I don't know what it is about that drink that tastes so good. I know it's loaded with sugar and it's loaded with caffeine and it's horrible for you and it destroys your teeth. But God, it tastes so good. It tastes so good. When I was in Disney World last year, in Epcot, they have a part where you can drink different sodas from around the world. And there was a Costa Rican Fanta. I think it was orange flavored. And it was so good. Oh my God. I mean, it must have like pure sugar cane, like cocaine in it or something. It was just so good. And they give you these little, the little pea cups that you fill when you go to the doctor's office. I just sat in there for like ever, just refilling that thing and drinking the Costa Rican Fanta. I mean, it's one they didn't ask me to leave, but that was some darn good tasting soda. Apart from yourself, who is your favorite YouTube reviewer and why? Oh man, that is a very good question. I'll have to go back to the people who, got me into it. The Dead Pit guys, Raul Magnifico, Barry West Jr. from Endurance Productions. Some of the newer guys, I'm gonna seem really nepotistic. Is that a word? I don't think so, but I really like B-Movie Mike. I really like his reviews. DVD Collector 1974 James. There's a lot of guys that have started channels after mine that I'm big admirers of. But those are the two that jump to mind. B-Movie Mike. In a big way. I really enjoy his reviews. He really goes in depth, and really like his reviews. My buddy Orc, my old buddy Orc, he's got a couple of questions. What's your thoughts on poker? Love poker. Used to play poker all the time back in the day when the World Series of Poker was huge. Used to play Texas Hold'em with my buddies all the time. Got into the online game. I think I'm one of the few people alive who actually got into the online game and actually came out ahead. So I pat myself on the back for that one. I love poker. I'm actually going to be playing some poker this weekend. So, yeah. Will you ever come back to multiplayer gaming? And are there any games you are looking forward to? There are no games I'm really looking forward to. The only game, I mean, I've said it before, I'm a self-confessed COD snob. I don't want to play any game unless it's Call of Duty. And at this point, the Call of Duty series is stale, boring, and dead. I would like to come back to multiplayer gaming, but right now I just don't. Right now, I just really don't have the desire to be perfectly honest. What movies that have been announced are you waiting for the most and why? Orc also says Pacific Rim. I think that looks really good. The Conjuring, because like I said before, James Wan, I think is the premier, the preeminent horror director these days. So really, I mean, those are the two that I'm kind of looking forward to the most. Moon Eternal, I'm sorry, asks, what are your thoughts on the increased prices for autographs at shows? Favorite con, hope to see you at Fandom Fest in July. Yes, if you see me at Fandom Fest in July, please say hello. Thoughts on increased prices at shows? When I first started going to shows, this was like back in 2008, 2009, it was $20 across the board. I mean, everybody was $20. So, and I mean, that got you the autograph and that got you the photo at their table. And that's what I liked. I liked going to a convention and like being like, okay, there's 5 people I want to see. That's $100. That's my budget. And then I'm going to get out of there. Now you just never know. I mean, it just depends on what level the celebrity thinks they're at. And of course, every celebrity is looking around, and if I'm 20 and the guy next to me who I think is not as big a celebrity is charging 25 or 30, well, I'm wiping that 20 off and I'm writing 30 or 35. I mean, it's just I've seen it just edge up higher and higher from 20 to 25 to, I mean, nowadays I really don't even know. I can't even budget it anymore because you just don't know how much it's going to be. The bane of the convention goer these days, for me at least, is the professional photo ops. God, I hate those. For me, I mean, that is just a shameless way to double dip the fans. Instead of paying 20 or 25 and getting the picture and the autograph, you're going to pay me 25 for the autograph and then turn around and pay me 20, 25 more for a picture of me standing in front of some glamour shots background on some, my buddy's digital camera, and that's going to be a professional photo op. I think that's bullcrap. I hate that. Photo ops have their places at these shows, I admit, but they are more for group shots, or if like you're meeting an actor who's known for a specific character and they're going to be dressed in that character. That is what a photo op is for, not just an extra $20 in your pocket. I really hate that. And yeah, the prices at shows are going to be on the rise, and they're only going to go up, unfortunately. Favorite con, I've always enjoyed Scarefest. Scarefest isn't the biggest convention in Kentucky, but I've always had a good time when I've gone there. Very well organized, very laid back, just very cool people all around. The staff know what they're doing. The staff are very nice. I really can't say that for any other convention. Or of the 2 major conventions in Kentucky, Friday Night Film Fest and Scarefest, I've always had a better time at Scarefest. Friday Night Film Fest have gotten the better guests the past few years as far as, the talent is concerned, but they run their show pretty shoddily, if I do say so myself. Very disorganized, very poorly executed. Giblet1618 asked, Pizzelle, tell us the story of how you got into horror movies. What were some of your first ones? How I got into horror movies was just I was drawn to horror movies as a kid, going to the video store with my mom, something about the horror section just drew me in. I loved the box cover arts. I don't know. I mean, I was always I guess somebody who was drawn to the macabre, the scary. I mean, I don't know. I was just drawn to that section, and I lived in the horror section for a good part of my life in video stores before video stores pretty much went the way of the gun. What were some of the first ones? I remember watching Halloween 2 with my mother. God, when I was very, very, very young. I vividly remember the part where Dr. Loomis is chasing the guy across the street who he thinks is Michael Myers, but he's not. It's Ben Tramer, and the police car smashes into him and hits him up against the news van, and he bursts into flames. I remember that pretty vividly and being kind of shocked by that moment, actually. But the funny story is that night I was too scared to sleep by myself, so I asked if my mother would sleep with me. And sometime during the middle of the night, we had this big, huge, fat, yellow cat named Morris, which he looked exactly like the old Morris the cat, the cat spokesperson, the feline spokesperson for Friskies or whatever the big cat food was at the time back in the 80s. And he jumped up onto the bed in the middle of the night at one point and landed on her legs, and she woke thinking that was Michael Myers grabbing her. So according to her, she clutched me close to her and screamed as loud as she could in my ear, and not a peep. Didn't wake up, didn't nothing, just slept right through it. So yeah, Halloween 2 is one of the earliest memories of mine of watching a horror movie. Arkham Knight 84 asks, who's your favorite Jason actor? Kane Hodder, hands down. Richard Brooker did a fantastic job with Jason. In part 3, Ted White was great. In part 4, C.J. Graham was great. In part 6, Kane Hodder just brought a personality to the role. I mean, he is Jason as far as I'm concerned, and in the eyes of so many fans. He just took what is essentially a prop. I mean, Jason's a prop. He shows up at different parts in the movie and removes characters from the movie. That's his sort of sole function. And he brought a personality to it. So definitely Kane Hodder. R&R Horror Hunter asks, who are you most proud to have met at a convention? And who would you recommend someone to try and meet? Rock on, man. Love your vids. John Carpenter definitely is the one that jumps to mind, of course. I was really happy to meet Danny Steinman. I've talked about how much I love Friday 5 on this channel a lot. I managed to meet him at a show. I think it was a Friday night show a couple of years ago. He died the following year, I think. So, I mean, that was either the last or one of the last conventions that he ever did. So I was definitely happy to have met him. Let me see, who else was cool that I met at a show? Carolyn Williams was really nice. Stretch from Chainsaw 2. Really enjoyed meeting her. She was very nice. Iron Singleton, or Iron E. Singleton, who played T-Dog on Walking Dead, was super fun. Really nice to his fans. Very, very, very pleasant and personable. The guy that played Dale, his name is escaping me, also very, very overly nice to the fans. Overly nice. He was very nice to me. If you have an opportunity to meet either of those guys at a show, definitely. If you're a fan of sleepaway camp movies, Felissa Rose is awesome to meet at a show. When I met her, I mean, she wasn't even, she was just $10. I mean, or if it was like a negotiation. It was like, give me 20, give me 25. It was like, just have you got 10? But that's okay. So I mean, she was super nice. I mean, that is an example of someone who goes to these shows to have fun and hang out with the fans. Jonathan Tiersten, who played Ricky in Sleepaway Camp, was also very nice to me. So if you're a fan of Sleepaway Camp movies, those two were definitely ones that I would want to meet. Ari Lehman was really cool to meet. Who played young Jason in the original Friday the 13th. He's very cool to meet. Of course, he's a musician, and he's just really nice to meet. Really nice guy. But yeah, the big one was of course John Carpenter, and really am happy with the fact that I was able to meet Danny Steinman before he passed away. Let's see. Film reviewer 007 asked, what is your favorite summer camp slasher? The Burning. Talked about that a lot on this channel. Love that film. I'd say followed closely behind by Sleepaway Camp. What is the best item in your collection? Wow. I would have to go with my John Carpenter autographed Halloween poster. I've often thought, if the man cave caught on fire, what's the one thing I'd run in here and grab? And it would have to be that poster. What are your thoughts on remakes? I hate them. I'm tired of them. I wish they'd all die and go away. Let's check Facebook. Had a couple of questions on Facebook. Christian Hannah asked, first off, I'd like to just say there are a lot of people who do horror movie reviews, unboxing videos, etc. And one of the main reasons I really enjoyed your videos was the fact that you made it feel like I was almost in the room with you. Your personality is good and it makes your videos stand out above the rest. With that being said, I know as time goes on, things change, but will we still be getting steady videos from you? I'm sorry. And do you plan on ever stopping one day? Thank you for the very kind words, Christian. I try and do at least one video a week these days, just to stay active on here. I don't plan on stopping, to be perfectly honest with you. I've been doing it since 2009, and I'm still having fun doing it. And I've just reached 2,000 subscribers, so the audience is growing, and I have great people who seem interested and have really nice things to say about the content that I put up on here, like you, Christian, with those kind words. So yeah, I really have no plans of stopping, to be perfectly honest with you. I like what I do. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm trying at least do one video a week. There's sometimes I've done, it seems like at one point I was doing like 3 a week. It gets to the point where it's like, I think you're seeing too much of my mug. So, but at least one a week. Let's see, anything else on Facebook? Let's see. Paul Jenkins asks, are you frightened by the idea of ghosts? And if not, explain where this canned bravery is bought and sold. Am I afraid of the idea of ghosts? I think you have to ask yourself, do ghosts truly exist? I've always been one to believe that, houses aren't haunted, people are haunted. Do ghosts exist? I've never seen a ghost. I've never encountered a haunting. I think, unfortunately, a lot of the ghost hunter, shows and stuff that are on TV today are so incredibly fake that, I'm surprised that so many people buy into them. I'm surprised that they're so popular. The idea of ghosts. I think, of all the horror movie, villains, let's say, ghosts, evil spirits, evil entities, demons, things like that, those are really the only ones that kind of make me feel a little creeped out, to be perfectly honest with you. Slashers, vampires, creatures, no, not at all. I will admit, Paranormal Activity was a bit creepy. Insidious was a bit creepy. So, I don't know. Am I frightened by the idea of ghosts? Not particularly. Do I believe in ghosts? Not particularly. But I will say that of all the horror cliches or whatever you want to call them, ghost spirits, evil entities, stuff like that are the closest to what actually kind of creep me out in film. Emily Braverman asks, what are your favorite types of horror movies? Thriller, gore, monsters, missing people, crime, etc. Slashers. Always been my favorite, still my favorite. When I want to have just a fun, kind of brainless movie-going experience, I reach for a slasher movie. I've always loved slasher movies. The thing about horror movies for me, I don't watch them to be scared or to get scared. I watch them for the simple entertainment value, for the most part. And slashers being, the one that the subgenre of horror that I love the most, and I've watched the most over the years, and that I continue to watch, and that I rewatch over and over again just to, just for fun. So I think it's funny. I watch scary movies not really to be scared, but just to be entertained, because those are the ones that I find the most entertaining. And let me see, I think that might be the very last question. Let me just double check. Abram Nicole Thomas asks, what was your major in college? You have such a great vocabulary, a way with words. You are very pleasant to listen to. Just wondered if you majored in English or maybe journalism. Did not major in English, nor did I major in journalism, though I do have some experience as a writer in the past, writing, of course, online, writing for a local newspaper, entertainment stories and movie reviews and stuff like that. My way with words just comes naturally. I am a natural-born wordsmith, but I appreciate the kind words. There, Abria. My majors in college, because I had more than one, I will say, was more in the social services field. So, but thank you for those very kind words, and thanks to everybody. I think I got just about everybody. I did leave out a few that were somewhat repetitive, but yeah, I really appreciate everybody's questions that they submitted, all the very kind words, all the support over the years. Again, very much appreciated. And yeah, this was pretty cool. I may actually maybe when I hit 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers, I'll do another one of these. So yeah. Again, thanks to everybody who contributed to my 2,000 subscriber thank you Q&A session. Again, really appreciate the support and all the kind words. It just warms my heart. So, anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy, and